How's it going, everyone? Paul with Adaptable Survival. What I want to go over in today's video is this budget hammock camping setup that I've been testing for the last 6 months. Stick with me as we dive into it. So in today's video, what we're going to take a look at is this budget hammock camping system that I put together for about the last 6 months or so. I've been using these. If you came to the Pathfinder gathering, you may have seen my hammock camping class, and I used this system in that class. So the hammock I have is from a company called Kudik. They did send me this a while back, so now I'm just being able to get this up into a video. And then the tarp I've been using, and I got this a while back, I just haven't used it, is a Kalinko hammock tarp. It's a 3x3 meter or a 10x10 hammock, so works really, really well with hammock systems. So I'm going to string up this Kudik hammock, and we'll talk a little bit more about the specs. So with this Kudik hammock, you will actually get the hammock itself, and like I said, I'll dive into the specs here in a minute, but you will get the straps as well as the carabiners on the hammock itself. So let me pull this hammock out here, stash the straps in my pocket. And for my straps, usually come a little bit higher than my height. Clip it in somewhere along the daisy chain. So I'm a big fan of having these daisy chain straps. They just make adjustments a little bit easier. Going forward, I do want to try some of the other straps out there, just because you can fine tune those a little bit better for the hang you want. So I did get the Kudik hammock set up. Now this is made out of a 210T parachute nylon, so it's going to be nice and strong to support a variety of people. I do believe they state that the strength of this hammock is 500 pounds, so even us thick folk out there can still enjoy a nice hammock hang. Now I've been using this, like I said, for about the last 6 months or so, and I've liked it a lot. As you can see, this is a double, so you're gonna get tons of room in here to put a sleeping pad in here, or sleeping bag, a wool blanket. There's a variety of installation options you can use with this hammock. As you can see, if you're using it like on a day hike, you could set this up as just like a little chair, hang out, just take a little load off, enjoy nature a little bit. I've used a sleeping pad in here. I've used an underquilt under this, with mainly using this over the summer. I didn't use the underquilt a ton just because it wasn't that cold outside, but hammocks in general, the material's all going to be relatively the same. They're all going to be, they'll break down to some point if you're going through heavy use with it. That's just going to, come with the nature of hammocks. But the main reason what drove me to teach the hammock camping class and then do this particular video is I get a lot of questions on hammock camping, where to begin, which hammock to start with, because if you see some hammocks out there just for the hammock itself, not even the straps, you're looking at about $60. So this particular system, and why when Kudik emailed me, I said, yeah, I'll check out that hammock, is the price point on this double hammock with straps, carabiners, everything is $35 on Amazon. I didn't check Kudik's site recently, but I'll throw that across the screen here. So for $35, you're getting the straps, which some of the straps out there cost $15, $20, $30. I mean, you're getting an entire hammock system for $35. So if you're just getting into hammock camping, that's a great deal, because now you can try it out, see if it's something you even enjoy doing before you start dumping in tons of money, and then you're stuck with a hammock system that you paid $100 for and you don't even like hammock camping. I will talk about the tarp that I have with me today, the Kalinko tarp. Now I bought that one probably close to 2 years ago, and I just never used it. Just kind of forgot about it. And then when I was setting up that hammock class, I remember I had it. But this has held up really, really well. Thing to note with sleeping pads and hammocks, it can be kind of slick, so you kind of have to play around with how you have it adjusted in there. For me, when I put a sleeping pad in a hammock like this, I don't air it up to where it's completely firm. I probably anywhere between 3/4 and 85% full, just so that there's some kind of shaping that I can do with it. So when I lay on it, it kind of U-shapes around me versus being completely flat and then started getting slick and kind of trying to shoot out on me. I've had that happen to me with a couple other hammocks that I use. So let me hop out of the hammock here. I'll string up the tarp and we'll talk through that. Let's take a look at the Kalinko tarp itself. So right on the label here, and hopefully I can get this to come in. Come on, focus, damn it. So you will get 6 guy lines and 6 pegs with this. Like I said, it's a 3 meter by 3 meter, 10 foot by 10 foot. You have, looking at the picture here, you have tons of tie out options. I'm going to string up a ridge line, get the hammock put up, and I'll bring you back in. All right, so I got the tarp set up here. It took me a little while because I had to take apart the big mess of guy lines. Since I never use those, I always have my own personal shelter kit with cordage and stuff that I typically use. So I had to spend about 5-10 minutes sorting through that huge disaster. So if you do go with a Kalinko tarp, make sure you take apart those guy lines. Anyway, got the tarp just set up kind of in, almost like a roof shelter here. Can't remember the exact name of it right now. It's kind of spacing out on me. I am using some tarp poles today because I did buy those to try out for a little bit different project for another video that you may or may not see soon. So, but you can tie that off to a tree how I have those tied off to. You could use branches. I mean, just get creative with it. This tarp has 19 tie out points. So on this long side, you have 5. Then you have, 3, 4 on the other side. And then you have 3 in the middle. So tons of different options you can do with this tarp. String it up in this way here. You could do it in a diamond. You could get rid of the hammock and set up tarp shelters on the ground. There's tons and tons of versatility with a 10 by 10 tarp alone. This one cost me $30 off Amazon. I seen it, this is probably close to 2 years ago, and I was like, for $30, what do I got to lose? And then I just forgot about it. So now this year I've been getting it out, using it a little bit more. It is made out of a 210 polyester material. Does have a waterproofing on the inside, as well as that center line is seam taped. So it should be completely waterproof for you. I haven't had any issues, but that's not to say you might get a lemon and you have one. I can't speak for certainty that won't happen, but that happens with any piece of gear. So total price on this entire system is $65. For me, what really sparked this idea was, 1, I was teaching a hammock camping class at the Pathfinder Gathering, but 2, I get a lot of people asking, I'm interested in hammock camping, or I'm interested in camping or backpacking in general, but I don't want to spend a lot of money. So I started looking around. Like I said, Kudik sent me the hammock, so I was like, well, this is just kind of perfect timing. I found this tarp that was in my gear room, and I was like, well, I could definitely use these together for $65. I mean, you go look at like an Eno double nest, you're spending $65 on just the hammock alone. This setup here, you get a tarp, you get the straps, you get the carabiners, you get the hammock. All you got to figure out is the insulation. I've used sleeping bags for my insulation. I've used a wool blanket laid on top of that, and then had my sleeping bag, another wool blanket on top of me, my swag man, top quilt, under quilt. I mean, there's loads of different options, and I may do a hammock camping series down the road, but I wanted to get this one out because it was a nice budget setup to at least get you out and just try hammock camping if you've ever been interested in it. Do me a favor in the comment section down below. 1, let me know what your favorite hammock setup is, which ones should I get on my radar and check out, and 2, what kind of tarp shelters do you set up with your 10 by 10 tarp? There's loads of different options out there, so I look forward to seeing what you're using out there. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That gets more eyes on the channel, gets more people involved in our community so we can grow our knowledge base and learn together and grow together. As always, this has been Paul with Adaptable Survival. Adapt your mind, your body, and your gear.